Step into the spotlight.
Hey guys, what's going on? Underground Geek here. So there's something I kind of want to talk about. It's something that I really thought about not talking about for the longest time, but I think it kind of needs to be brought up. And people say, well, why are you bringing it? Why wouldn't you bring it up? And it's because, well, the very people that are saying that they're in danger and all this kind of stuff, they're the very people that will come after you for even talking about this kind of thing. Um, And I think it's funny that they would come after a little Southern boy that doesn't want to do anything but talk about comics. But here I am. I mean, I guess I'm just the next target. But anyway, so there's a story that I want to talk about. It's not really a story. It's more of an opinionated piece of conjecture trying to get attention. Um, and I'm not going to tell you who did it. And I'm not going to tell you where to find it because I don't want to give this person any kind of attention, and I also don't want to give them any kind of excuse to complain about being harassed. So this is just totally, just objective, and just listen to this a little bit and see what you think about it. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I'm just going to read some of it. It starts out with, in the 2 months I've been investigating Comicsgate, I feel like I've learned a lot about human nature, the natural belief, and why people do the crazy things they do. Oddly enough, I feel like I've learned about the nature of religion and why human beings in general follow silently and unquestioningly when they're asked to. Okay, first of all, you said it only took you 2 months to investigate this. You do realize that people generally investigate things for like up to a year before they talk about it. But it says, right off the bat, it says, I feel like I've learned. I feel like. And the story, the title of the story has my in it. My current thinking. Um, First of all, you can't write a story and be opinionated like that. You can't put my, I feel, I believe, things like that in there, because then all that turns into is opinion, and you haven't stated any facts. And it's going to go on to keep talking about no facts at all. There's no facts. There's no citations. There's no screenshots of anything. The person doesn't even use their real name. This is not how journalism works. And if you had actually been a journalist, then you would know. I'm just a common person, and I know better than that. I was reading an article this morning I think it was NBC News or something like that, and I was comparing that article to this article, and it's night and day different. They had screen caps, they had quotations, they had other places that you could go, other links that you could click out of to go check out relating stories, things like that. Evidence, that's what I'm talking about here. So anyway, it says. They say, maybe I should have called this post Religion in Comics. I don't know. But sometimes looking at this group, it feels like that way. Or it really feels that way. First of all, that was a run-on sentence. There was multiple commas where there didn't need to be. You should have put, maybe I should have called this post Religion in Comics, period. I don't know, but, comma, but. Sometimes looking at this group, it really feels that way. That's what you should have done. But, I'm just a little southern country boy. Whether or not these were at one time normal, well-adjusted comic book fans is besides the point. See, immediately, this is what these people don't understand. They use the same tactics over and over again, and they don't realize that they're even doing it. The first thing that you have to do when you're talking about somebody is dehumanize them. You need to dehumanize them right off the bat. Whether or not these were at one time normal, well-adjusted comic book fans is besides the point. Oh, okay. So right off the bat, you're automatically throwing what you're saying out the window because you're saying it doesn't matter. It's besides the point. Just listen to me, is what you're saying. Comicsgate is now a cult. Well, who's the cult though? Is the people for Comicsgate a cult, or the people against Comicsgate a cult? Because nobody's for Comicsgate. That's just a frame of talking when they're talking about this situation. There's not an actual group called Comicsgate. So I don't really understand where that's coming from. But anyway. And it's frightening, at least to reasonable people. Who's these reasonable people? And why is this frightening? Who's the people? You don't have anybody quoted talking. For all the same reasons that people might be scared of Charles Manson or Branch Davidians. what? What? You're comparing an unknown group where you haven't stated anybody on either side uh, as Charles Manson or Branch Davidians. You you do what? Even the name Comicsgate invokes images of Heaven's Gate for reasons that should be obvious. What are you talking about? What's Heaven's Gate? Are you really talking about like Heaven's Gates? I, what? I don't understand. Why is it obvious? It's not obvious to anybody. This is not how this works. This is not how any of this works. And then they go on to say, I was too young to be involved with Gamergate, comma, but I imagine that it was indeed many of the same people that would probably have said the same things about them. So you were too young to be involved with Gamergate, but Gamergate was only like a year or two ago. So all of a sudden, just a year or two later, you're old enough to talk about this. What are you talking about? And it says, the science is similar and fascinating. I thought it was scary. Is it scary or is it fascinating? What science do you mean? What science? And then, of course, they go into making this cauldron, this witch's cauldron of 1 part passion, 1 part right-wing extremism. They always have to throw the right-wing extremism in there, and I don't know anybody that's my friends on Twitter has said anything about being right-wing. I don't remember any of them saying that. I'm not even right-wing. So I don't really understand how we can be right-wing extremists if we're not even right-wing. That's slander, first of all. If you had mentioned anybody on here, which you hadn't because you have no evidence, but if you had mentioned anyone directly, they could sue you over that right there. But then they keep on talking. I'm not going to read the whole thing because, like I said, I don't want anybody to say anything about it. So then they go on to say you feed the newly anointed members a delusional worldview, and that becomes more detached from reality the deeper you go. I don't know anybody that does that, so my phone always rings no matter what. But anyway, so they're talking about feeding the newly anointed members delusional worldview. I don't know anybody that does that. Now, if you was to watch our YouTube videos where we're reviewing comic books, if you agree with this, are you automatically delusional? I mean, I don't understand that. I don't understand that at all. And nobody's been feeding anybody anything. Like, it's literally just the people that review comics and talk about different things, and then other people follow them on Twitter and YouTube. Where they feel like individual contributions mean something. So individuals don't mean something? It sounds like you're talking about a herd mentality, and I thought everybody was allowed to be individual. You need to make your mind up. The illusion of being able to make a difference. Vindication. The illusion of being able to make a difference. Now one person can't make a difference? What are you talking about? Of course one person can make a difference. Punishment for dissent is swift, thorough, and potentially lethal. Name one person that has died. Name one person that has died. Name one person that's been physically hurt. Let's talk about that. Name one person that has been physically assaulted by anybody involved with anything to do with these comic books. Name one person. I'll wait. Oh, you couldn't? Okay, moving on. Stepping out of line with a group are severe. Consequences for stepping out of line for the group are severe. What do you mean? What group? There's not a group. It's just a bunch of friends that like comic books. And what do you mean stepping out of line with a group? Do you mean going on Twitter and saying F you, F everybody, I hate everybody, F y'all, don't talk to me again? Because that's the only people I've been seeing that's been fussing is the people that just automatically like fly off the handle for no reason at all and just tell everybody to F off. It doesn't make any sense. Like you just switch like you're bipolar and just go on this big rant about everything sucks, I hate everybody, don't talk to me, but feel bad for me. That's all I've seen. And so then they go on to say the business model for cults is lucrative. It's a bunch of garbage. Selflessly giving the leader of the cult anything he asks for. Who's the leader? And who gets stuff? I want stuff. Give me free stuff. I haven't got one free thing from anybody. This is a jip. If I'm going to be in a cult, I'm going to get stuff. And they say as long as someone's roasted on a stick for entertainment occasionally. Now we do roast Dan Slott because he sucks. So I mean I don't really know. When you go on Twitter, bash fans, and then block them, and then make a terrible book that gets canceled and don't even promote it, then we're going to make fun of you because that's a bad business decision. And then here it comes. Here comes the whole point of this story. Here comes the whole thing. It all goes back to the same. This is the same 4 or 5 words that is used in every one of these excuses without any kind of proof. Show me proof for every one of these words I'm about to show you. At least in this case, they're selling hate, misogyny, transphobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, white nationalism, and the harassment of both friends and foes. So are they selling for white nationalism or against it? I don't even know what white nationalism is. I know what being a nationalist is. You know, you're for your country. And harassment of both friends and foes. Who's harassing friends and foes, and who's a foe and who's a friend? You know what I mean? Like you haven't put anything in perspective for me. Somebody's going to read this and think people are murdering people on the streets. They're going to go run outside, get all their kids in the house, and lock their doors. And they're going to think, what is happening? Now, normal people would read this and go, this person's an idiot. But, you know, that's just me. And what's worse, nobody's stopping them or standing up, which allows the movement to grow. What are you trying to stop? Who's against what? You haven't put anything in perspective. Attracting more extreme, monstrous elements. What's these elements? I mean, you haven't put any of this into perspective for people to read this. And if any of that absolutely terrifies you and makes the tiny hairs on the back of your neck stand on end, it should. Because that's what's going on in the world of Comicsgate today, right now. So is Comicsgate like a thing that's happening, or is it a group, or what? Because this doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you know. Let's see. And like all other cults, it's viral by design and spreading. What do you mean it's viral by design and spreading? What cult? Name some people in this cult, and you know, show some citations of them doing like cult things, code talk on Twitter, or you know, show some pictures of them having their secret cult meetings, doing their drinking goat's blood and stuff. I don't understand. Is that what they do in cults, or I don't know? Do they stand around? Is it more like in a cult where you all go to somebody's basement and you talk bad about the fan base? You know, is that what a cult is? Because that makes more sense. And here's the thing. Then they go on to say, I catch a lot of flack from people inside the industry who don't understand any of what I've just talked about above. Comics pros are normally a peaceful bunch. They have the best job in the world and a passion for what they do. It's a small community and one that's always thought of itself, for lack of a better way to describe, as a family. So who's these people that you're catching flack from? How do they not understand? If they don't understand, why are they giving you flack? Like, who's giving you flack? Because then you go on to say this right here. They're good, honest, hard-working people that are asking for nothing more than the right to do what they do in peace so that we can all enjoy it. Okay, first of all, they're not asking to do what they do in peace, because if they were doing what they do in peace, they wouldn't be in a business selling things to consumers. They would be hanging out in a farm somewhere, minding their business. You know what I mean? They're in a business to sell things. They're getting attention every day from millions of people. What are you talking about? And how are they good, honest, hardworking people when they talk trash about people that they blocked on Twitter? They screenshot their stuff, post it on their Twitter, and then make fun of them. How is that good, honest, hardworking people? You know, name me some good, honest, good-working people. I'm sure there is some good-working people like Ethan Van Sciver and Scott Snyder and Greg Capullo and Alex Ross. He seems to keep to himself. The guy that draws for Super Sons, Jimenez or something, He seems pretty nice. Brett Booth, he kind of keeps to himself. Um, Industry people routinely ask me not to speak or to make my opinion on this known. It sounds like these industry people are the real ones you need to be worried about. It sounds like they're the ones that's trying to silence people here. I'm asked, usually very politely, to fall in line with the larger narrative that this goes away if you stop talking and allow myself to be intimidated into silence. So they're the ones we have to be worried about then. They're telling you not to speak and to fall in line with the larger narrative. Thank you for pointing that out. Then it says, someone has to tell the truth about this, even if for no other reason than to draw fire away from the people who create the medium I love, a pastime I've enjoyed more than any other for my entire life. Well, you obviously hadn't been involved in it very much. You've only been investigating it for 2 months. And you were too young for Gamergate, so you don't really know anything. And then it says, and if that person has to be me, so be it. First of all, they have to make themselves a victim. You have to understand that they're a victim. Pay attention to me. I need attention. Here's the deal. That is probably the worst article I've ever read in my life. And I've read a lot of Vox and what's the other YouTube channel? I can't remember. Nobody reads it anyway. But the point is, none of this is proven. There's no facts in this. There's no citations. There's no screenshots of anything. I mean, this is purely an opinionated. This could have been a tweet if you'd give enough room for the lettering. This could have been a 30 rant tweet by Gabby Rivers or something. It does not make any sense. And so here's my thing. No one, I don't know anyone in my friends on Twitter that have done anything aggressive to anybody. So first of all, please point out these people so that we can fight them together. What I want you to do is I don't want you to have vague narrative and just say everyone's a Nazi, everyone's in a cult. I want you to point these people out so that we can fight them together, because that's not right for these people to come after these other people maliciously and violently. You know what I mean? Now, if there's not any proof, then hush, okay? Because you're just being silly. And what you don't understand is you're giving these people that you don't like more attention. That's the reason I didn't even want to do this video, is because I feel like these people just be like, oh, well, you're just trying to go out and get them. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to point out that this is purely conjecture. Like, this person has been investigating this for 2 months, and this is all they have. A generalization, a vague blanket over this subject. Like, it doesn't make any sense. You can't just make this generalization and then want people to back you up. But here's the thing. I'm going to do what I don't think anybody else has done, and I'm going to say, to these people that feel offended and that feel like their lives are in danger, I'm here, okay? I'm here for you. So if you want to talk, this is a friendly gesture. This is a fig tree. This is a fig leaf. Fig tree. Whatever you call that. This is a peaceful flag that I'm waving. If you want to talk about this subject, I would be more than glad to talk to you on a live stream or something of that nature, to where we can actually talk. Because when you write out things to each other, you don't really know each other's intention. Like if you're just texting or emailing to each other, you don't really know the tone of the voice. A lot of it gets lost in translation. So if you want to do a live stream or something like that and talk about it, we can set it up, we can talk, because no one should feel threatened. You know what I mean? Nobody should feel that way. And let's talk about it together. Let's get this all behind us, and let's have these people feel like they're included into the comic fan base, because no one should feel like they're not included. Comics are for everybody. You know what I mean? And so if you want to read comics, read them. Now, if you want to throw hate at people, that's not right either. But this is just me just talking. So that's my invitation. Take it or leave it. But I do feel like that people shouldn't put generalizations out like that, because all that really does is smear comics in general. It doesn't really smear anybody, because you haven't even named anybody or anything that's happened. any situation. Generally, you just said people in comics. I mean, it's just, I don't really understand. And you didn't say if Comicsgate was a group, or if they're or if this is a phrase, or if this is a movement. You don't really, you haven't really said anything. So, all right. So this is me inviting you for a live stream. Anybody that wants to talk about it, anybody. All right, guys. That's all I got to say about this subject. It's just kind of sad. I'll talk to you guys later. Underground Geek out.